Welcome to KonstruxPro. Today we will walk through a typical workflow for a residential millwork job. The process begins the moment a customer expresses interest in working with your company. If this is a new customer, then we must start by creating a new one. Click on Projects. Next, click on Customers. By default, the Customers menu is locked to prevent accidental changes to existing customers. Click on the lock icon to unlock the form. Now, click on New. Enter the customer's name, then click on OK to create the customer. Now take some time to fill out the remaining fields for the customer, then click Save. Now that a customer has been created, we can create a new project. Click New on the Project menu. Select the customer from the drop-down box. Enter the project name, address, and contact information. Set the estimated start date to roughly when the client is expecting work to begin. This date determines where the job is placed on the main calendar on the dashboard. Now click Save, and you will be taken to the newly created project. A new feature to KonstruxPro is the project milestones. These are custom workflows to help track the progression of the project. Let's begin by assigning a workflow to this project. Click on Workflow, then select the one you would like to use. As you can see in our example, we have set up a workflow that begins with creating a quote and tracks the project through to invoicing. When custom workflows are being created, employees can be assigned to each of the milestones you create. As a milestone is marked as complete, the system will automatically assign a task to the employees responsible for the next task, and they will receive an email notification. Next, we can link any documents to the project. This allows for all users to easily share and access project documents through both the desktop and mobile applications. To link a document, you can click on the Assign Documents icon at the top of the screen, or you can right-click on the document tree and select Add Document. Next, let's create a quote for the customer. Click on New in the Quotes section. Click Yes to confirm you want to create a new quote. Begin by selecting a customer. Now fill out the description, notes, and terms fields. The description field is for your own use and is not printed on the quote. You can now begin to fill out the line items on your quote. You will notice there are two checkboxes at the end of each line. Add to Quote and Hide Price. Add to Quote gives you the option to include or exclude items on your quote. For example, you can quote multiple options for the same item. Then by clicking on the checkbox to include or exclude them, you can print a quote with only the options you want without having to delete and lose the other options. Once you have completed adding all the line items, you are ready to print your quote. In the upper right corner, there are two more checkboxes: Hide Total and Print Unit Price. Hide Total allows you to print a quote with only the line item pricing, which can be useful for quoting different options on the same quote. Print Unit Price allows you to print the price of each item, as well as the net price for that item. Click on Print Preview to preview your quote before printing. If everything looks good, click on Print. Once the quote has been submitted, we can click on the Create Quote milestone. Once the quote has been accepted, we can once again open the project, then click on Quote Accepted. Doing this will automatically create a task for the appropriate employee to begin creating shop drawings. That employee will have a task listed on their dashboard and will receive an email alert to notify them of the new task. After the shop drawings have been created, you can mark off Create Shop Drawings task in the milestones. And once the shop drawings are approved, you can mark off the shop drawing approved task to trigger the Compile Materials task. At this point, we can create a work order. Work orders are to be used for tracking the job from production through installation. Click on New in the Work Order section of the project. Click Yes to confirm you want to create a new work order. You will now be taken to the Work Order page. The Work Order page consists of 3 tabs: Work Order, Materials, and Products. Let's begin with the Work Order tab. Begin by entering a description for this work order. Now select the work order type that you are creating. While a single work order can be used from start to finish of the project, Some users prefer to break their work orders up into materials, production, and installation. Work order types are defined by the company during setup and are totally customizable. For demonstration purposes today, we will use the production and installation types of work orders. This work order will be our production work order. Click on the drop-down and select Production. Next, we need to set the target start date and the target finish date. These date selections will control where the work order appears on the dashboard's work order calendar. You can now type in any work order details you feel your production staff needs to know in the work order details section. These details will print on the work order and are visible in the work order section of the mobile application. Next, we can add work order tasks. You can either click on New beside work order tasks, or right-click in the white area below and select the task you wish to add. Adding a task will bring up a menu to input how long the task is to take. These task times are used when using the scheduler, as well as in reporting when comparing actual times versus estimated times. Next, we can set the status of the work order. The status box helps us track where the work order is within the production process. Set the status to pending for work orders being created. Engineering is for when the project is being processed and being prepared for production. Purchasing is for when all materials for the project are being ordered and not yet received. Ready is for when all materials are received and the job is staged for production. Released is for when the job is released to the production floor. Installation is for when the job is ready to be installed. Completed is for when the job is completed installation and awaiting invoicing, and invoiced is for when the job is completed invoicing. As we are still creating this work order, let's leave the status as pending. Next, let's add the materials to the work order. Click on the Materials tab at the top of the work order. Here you can manually enter the required materials, or if you have set up a link to your design software like Cabinet Vision, you can import the materials directly from the job file. For today's demonstration, we will enter our materials manually. Let's begin by adding an inventory item. Right-click on the next available line in the material grid and select Replace with Inventory Item. You can now search for the item by typing a keyword into the search box, or you can browse your inventory catalog for the item you wish to add. I want to add some 3/4 black melamine to the job, so I'll just type in black into the search box and click Search. Now I will double-click on the item I want. This will bring up a menu to choose a vendor for that item. In the inventory catalog, you have the option to assign multiple vendors to an item with different pricing for each. Double-click on the vendor you wish to use and the item will be added to the work order. Next, click on the quantity cell and enter the quantity you require. At the far right of the grid, there is a column called Consumable. If this item is marked as consumable, then the employees can use the shop floor terminal or the mobile application to record the amount consumed during production and remove them from inventory. Now, let's add an item that is not from our inventory catalog. Click on the description cell of the next available line. Type in a description of the item, then enter the quantity you require. Next, enter the price of the item. Now we need to select the supplier. Click on the supplier cell and select the required one. Once all the materials are added, we will set the status of the work order to purchasing and mark the milestone Compile Materials as complete to trigger the next task of ordering the materials. Now that we have all the materials for the job on the work order, let's head over to Purchasing to create the purchase orders. Click Close on the right side of the screen to close the work order. Click back on the left navigation menu, then click on the purchase icon. Since we added items to the work order and assigned vendors to the items, we can use the PO Builder to automatically create all the purchase orders we need. Click on the PO Builder icon. There are two ways to list the items waiting to be ordered. You can list all projects that have items to order, then select the work order you are ordering for. Or, you can click on List All Items Not Ordered, and this will bring up all items to be ordered regardless of which project they are for. Today we are only concerned with the work order we just created, so we will list projects then select our work order. When we click on our work order, tabs will appear for each vendor that has items. You can now select which items you wish to order by clicking on the Builder checkbox for each item and vendor. Today, we are going to order all items for both vendors. After selecting the items on each tab, we can click on Auto Create Purchase Orders, and all POs will be created. Once created, the POs will be listed in purchase orders to the left. Each purchase order will be created with the status of pending, which means it has not been submitted to the vendor yet. Double-click on the first PO in the list to open it up. Click on Print or Print Preview. This will give you a warning that the purchase order will be set to open instead of pending. When it is set to open, the PO becomes locked and can no longer be changed, unless the status is changed back to pending. Also, the items in the material list on the work order will have their status updated to ordered. Click OK to confirm you want to proceed. Once all POs are printed and submitted to the vendors, we can go back to our project and check off the order materials milestone. This will trigger the next step in the process to site measure. Once that has been completed and checked off, we come to the finalized shop drawings. At this point, we add the products to the work order. Double-click on the work order, then click on the Products tab. The Products tab is meant to be used to track the progress of your products being built and shipped. If you have a software link set up, you can import your products directly from the job file. Today, we will enter our products manually. Click on the quantity cell of the first available row. Enter the quantity, item ID, and description of the product. You can also enter the width, length, height, and room description for each item if you wish. As products are built or shipped, the employees responsible for those tasks can enter on the shop floor application the quantity built or shipped. This information is updated instantly and is viewable on this tab. Once all products are entered into the work order, materials are received, and production paperwork readied for the shop floor, we can set the work order status to ready and print a copy of the work order to accompany your production paperwork. We can now mark off the finalized shop drawings milestone to trigger the release to production task. If you are using the KonstruxPro scheduling ability, you can now go to the dashboard and select the Schedule tab on the calendars. The scheduling system within KonstruxPro utilizes your employee matrix grid that was created during initial setup, employee availability, as well as the tasks you added to your work orders. Let's begin by clicking on Create Schedule. On the scheduling screen, you have the options for creating the schedule at the top. You can choose what days you want to schedule, if you want to schedule on holidays, and the date you wish the schedule to begin. On the left, you have a list of projects which have work orders available to be scheduled. Begin by selecting which days you want to be scheduled as well as the schedule start date. Now select the project you created, then the work order. Click on Add Selected Work Orders to insert into the schedule. Next, click on Regenerate Schedule. The schedule will now be created. Once complete, you can review the schedule generated in the lower scheduled window. If all looks good, then click on Commit Schedule to Master Schedule. You will now be taken back to the schedule chart on the dashboard. Next, open the project again, and then open the work order. The work order can now be set to Released Status, and the Release to Production milestone can be marked completed. At this point, the KonstruxPro Shop application will be utilized to track labor, materials, and products throughout the production process. Please view the KonstruxPro Shop application overview video for more details. We will now assume production has completed the work order, and we are ready to set up the installation. Open the project once again, and create a new work order for installation. Set the work order type to installation, and set the target start date and target finish date to when the installation is scheduled to start and end. Add a task for installation, so the installers can use the mobile application to clock into this work order and track their labor during the installation process. Set the status of the work order to Released, as there are no production steps being taken. Now we can schedule the installers for this job. Close the work order and click back on the navigation menu. Now click on the employee icon, then click on the Schedule Employees icon. Next, click on New in the bottom left corner. Set the start time and end time and select the days you want to be scheduled. Type a description for what is being scheduled, then click on Assign Work Order. Select the project, then the installation work order you just created. Next, select the employees you are assigning to install. Then click Save to update their schedule. By assigning a work order to the scheduled item, the employees can access the work order directly from their schedule in the mobile application, making it easier to view the work order details and log into the installation task. For more information on the KonstruxPro mobile application, please view the KonstruxPro mobile application overview video. Once the installation is completed, we can set all the work orders to completed status and mark the trigger invoice milestone complete. We are now ready to create an invoice. Open the quote that was accepted for the project. Click on Create Invoice on the right side of the quote. Select each of the items on the quote you are going to invoice. If you are going to add taxes to the invoice, then check the taxes that apply. Now click Create Invoice. It is now ready to print and submit. Set the status to Submitted and print the invoice. If all items on the quote are being invoiced, then we can set the quote status to Invoiced and mark the Create Invoice milestone as completed. Once the invoice has been paid, we can set the invoice status to Paid and the project status to Completed. The project is now complete, and you can use the reports for analyzing how the job went. This has been a quick overview of how a typical residential millwork job could be managed using KonstruxPro. There are many useful features and tools we did not touch on in this video. If you would like more information on any aspect of the software, please reach out to us, and we will be happy to help.